We have some crazy news right now as there is an update stating that Lonzo Ball could return to the Bulls lineup as early as next season. We really didn't think we'd hear anything about this until the offseason came around, and after the news of everything that has gone on this season with Lonzo, we had no optimism that something like this would happen as soon as it is or at all. I'm your host, Joey Mercer. This is another episode of Bulls Digest, and if you want to join this community as we continue to grow, we have the best community here on Bulls Digest for your Chicago Bulls news, and if you want to join that, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And about 76% of you that do watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to go down below, join the community, and we'll upload every single day to keep you up to date with our takes on the Chicago Bulls and everything you need to know about them. So without further ado, let's get the topic there today being Lonzo returning next season. So realistically, after we heard that he wasn't really walking or running, doing much of anything in January, it seemed like it was going to be another stale year on Lonzo Ball injury progress. But now, after recently hearing that he is returning to running, getting out on the court, doing everything that he can, and now we're hearing that he could even return as early as the start of next season, that is absolutely huge news on Lonzo Ball. I'm grateful to be able to bring that to you here today and break some of it down to you right now. We can see that this tweet from NBA Central says there's a growing buzz that Lonzo Ball will play next season per KC Johnson Hoops. There's growing buzz from some who talk to Ball that he'll play next season. Now, when we looked into that article, it was actually from NBC Sports Chicago, saying a mailbag article actually come from this writer, Dan Ant, coming and talking to KC Johnson, asked him questions, put it into Bulls mailbag there on NBC Sports Chicago, and says, what are the realistic chances Lonzo Ball can return to the NBA, and do you think the Bulls will wait to give him one more chance, or move in another direction this summer? Now, if I were to answer that question, I would kind of be lost. We haven't heard too much about Lonzo, besides the optimism that he has been working out, but KC Johnson obviously has some more inside tips and information than we have here at Bulls Digest. We bring you as much as we possibly can on information that we gather. However, he is very close to the team, so it's a little bit easier for him. But on Lonzo Ball, I really didn't think it was going to happen this soon, and hearing that KC Johnson thinks this really helps out a lot of fans who thought that Lonzo would probably never play again. We can see here, he says, as stated in the last answer, there's growing buzz from some who talk to Ball that'll play next season. Also, as stated in the last answer, that optimism needs to be measured against the fact that he hasn't started taking contact or playing 5-on-5. Everyone associated with the Bulls is rooting for Ball, and the Bulls have to give him one more chance unless they trade him. And there was little interest in his contract when it was included in some preliminary talks leading up to the trade deadline, mostly as part of larger packages. Since Ball is almost guaranteed to pick up his player option, he can play and the Bulls don't trade him. He'll be on the Bulls since their only way out would be to have an independent panel of doctors deem Ball's injury career ending. Now, that is not exactly what you would want to hear, that it would be career ending, but there is optimism that he is going to try to play, as I'm sure he doesn't want to retire at such a young age. He is on this player option next season. Obviously, we'll be taking that. It is the last year of his deal. I can't see another team really offering him any contract right now, as you don't know if he's even going to play. But the optimism around them as he's trying to ramp things up, I really hope to see him on 5-on-5 and contact drills in this summer, in the offseason. And it's great to see that there is optimism that KC Johnson says from people in Ball's circle that he can come back and play again as early as the start of next year. That would be what he would need to do to get another contract in the NBA. If he doesn't play next year, I'd say it would probably be over unless someone wanted to sign him to a vet min and kind of take a swing. The next thing we saw in this was another question from a writer to the Bulls mailbag sent from Nick P. It says, as a human being, it has been great to watch Lonzo's recovery. I genuinely hope he's able to live a pain-free and normal life after his injury. He seems like a great person. I really miss his infectious team-first personality on the courts. From a practical standpoint, however, is it bad that I wish a medical retirement was on the table? It's the only avenue the Bulls have this summer to really improve the roster with Arturas Karnisova's dead-set refusal to break this core up. I will believe that Lonzo can be a rotational NBA player again when I see it. It seems highly unlikely for anyone to come back from a 2.5-year absence after a rare ligament transplant surgery and then contribute at a high level again. With his salary on the books and no market/realistic mechanism to invest in fixing any of the other wing or center depth concerns. I know AK has touted his ability to get creative, but creativity only takes you so far when you're dealing with Jerry Reinsdorf and the luxury tax. DeMar and Pat are getting raises on their current salary, and the team is up against the tax now with several other roster spots to fill. The math is simply a disaster for the Bulls, which is why AK ducked the question at his post-trade deadline conference. I wish I didn't have to think like this, but that's life with this inflexible, stubborn front office. I'm already getting pumped for some play-in drama and a 4-game sweep or competitive series against Boston, says Nick P. So much optimism there for the playoffs. But yeah, he's like a lot of fans, obviously. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring this up here. A lot of fans are in the same mindset that we really don't feel like they're going to spend the money that they need to spend. We think Lonzo Ball, when he comes back, is either going to be rushed into things, or is he really going to come back and be that great? I have optimism here because I am willing to believe people in his circle a little bit more than just, say, a reporter. But Casey Johnson coming out and saying that from the circle, he's usually more right than wrong when it comes to those things, has a little bit more insight on the Chicago Bulls from a very intense inside position. We can also see there when talking about that Lonzo Ball, is that exactly something they want to do for the future? I think the Bulls are going to. Obviously, he's taking this season with the player option, but in the future, if Lonzo Ball can play this season, play anywhere near he was before, re-sign this man, get him on the team, get him there for a long time. The injuries, hopefully we can just put those in the past behind him. I'm going to hold out optimism here that he can come back and play again. I'm not going to hold the pessimistic view and be skeptical that he isn't going to come back and be the player he was. I'm hoping that all is well as Lonzo Ball. I mean, we're talking about medicine is, advancing each and every single season in the NBA, and this could be the time right now for Lonzo Ball to come back, be exactly the player he was, and prove all the doubters wrong. Next thing we saw in this was the per-game stats. You can see that he was 19th, which isn't that good of a ranking in the Most Improved Player award race there in 2021, but still had a very solid season with the New Orleans Pelicans, showing people that, yeah, it wasn't a fluke the year before, shooting threes at 38% on 8 attempts, but then with the Bulls in those 35 games was magical. 42% from the field is not phenomenal, but when you're shooting the same from 3, yeah, it is. That 42% from 3 was very important for the Bulls. Very good to see there from Lonzo Ball. Not many free throws at all. A lot of threes, of course, but that was really helping them out. I mean, 5 rebounds, 5 assists as well, almost 2 steals, and 13 points a game. And then when you look at the advanced, if you're into those kind of stats, we can see the value over replacement player. The VORP is 1.4, which is pretty solid. 2.5 BPM, also pretty solid, with 1.6 on defense. 1.4 defensive win shares, 2.2 overall. The usage is nothing crazy, but still pretty solid, 17.4. Turnover, a little tad high, but you can definitely deal with it. The assist percentage is lower than what people would have thought compared to the turnover, but is still solid at 20%. But that steal percentage and block is very solid for a point guard, and his rebounding is also good on the defensive end. Lonzo Ball, overall, a very important player for the Chicago Bulls team. I wish him nothing but the best. I'm hoping for this recovery to happen speedy. It's taken a long time, but now we can see over this offseason, if he comes back at the start of next year, that could be absolutely crucial to the Bulls' success in the next season. And who knows, maybe the Bulls will be a solid playoff team like they were last time Lonzo Ball was in the lineup. This has been your host, Joey Mercer. Let me know what you think. Who do you believe here? Do you really believe this optimistic approach that Lonzo will start? Do you think that it's not going to happen? I personally believe that it is. I'm holding out optimism now for him, coming from his inner circle. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section below. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.